Hi everyone, welcome to Roxhill's first webinar and thanks for coming along. We're really excited to take you through the refresh we gave the journalist profiles feature of our database. With journalist profiles being one of Roxhill's key features, we thought it was time to give it a bit of a facelift. You can browse and find relevant journalist information more easily and faster than ever before with our new and sleeker look. Our new features include a live content window, the ability to search for keywords, topics, company and company sectors within a journalist's profile, a visual timeline tool to help you tailor your search for content within a specific time period, a view into a journalist's colleagues and peers so you can more easily find other journalists relevant to you, an interview tab with exclusive notes and videos from Roxhill events and lots of other cool features. So let's get started. We are looking at the Roxhill homepage, so let's bring up a journalist profile with our Find It Quickly name search here on the top right. And I'm just going to type in James Hurley's profile as an example. So just letting that load. Okay, so clicking on James's name, bringing up his profile on here. So looking at James's profile straight away, you can see that there is a lot more information on his front page straight away. The information that you used to have on the old profiles is of course still visible here on the left hand side. So you have his contact details popping up on the left hand side, a bit of a description as to some additional information that we have about James, also the sectors that he usually writes about, and the desks that he sits on are at the bottom on the left hand side too. Then in the middle we've got a slightly different layout here on the new profile pages, so you still have the coverage pie charts coming up now on the front page straight away to help you to pitch to the journalist about the right stuff, and also to give you a bit of an overview as to what he has focused on recently with regards to his articles. So you can see the topics, companies and company sectors that James has recently written about. Same data coming through on the headlines here too, so this is just in a timeline view, but it's exactly the same data that the pie charts are also using as a source of information. So you can scroll through his recent stories, starting with the ones from the 12th of March when this recording was done. Then you have his recent tweets coming through here too, so whenever James tweets something or even retweets, they should come here too with the initials RT, so you can see what he has posted about on his social media channels. Media requests, so whenever James has used the hashtag general request or PR request, it feeds through here as well, so that you can pick up this information if you have anything relevant to send to him. His biography is coming up here too. Now this used to be on the front page on the profiles. We've moved this a little bit towards the back because we believe that the other live content might help you a little bit more in terms of finding out what the journalist's focus is currently with regards to the content that they might be interested in receiving. So the biography is still coming up here, but slightly towards the back on his profile now. There are also alerts coming through here whenever James has moved jobs, for example, and colleagues and peers. Interesting collection here of people that he works with within the team, or that might have an interest into similar sectors and topics that James covers. So you might get some further ideas as to who else you can include in your press list. And also at the back here we have a feed of the tweets from the Times from the publication itself, just as an overview. Now the content on James's page at the moment defaults to the past 6 months, but we can take this timeline and actually take a further 3 months in the past into account, so scrolling back to the last 9 months, and that then adapts the content on his page accordingly, so you can check James's focus and how it has shifted perhaps in that time frame as well. Now all the content is also coming out on different tabs here on his page, so you still have tabs that all relate to this as well. So you could, for example, look at these coverage pie charts on one page and have a bit more of a clearer overview of all this content, and you can of course, as you were able to before on the old profiles, also still click on this information and display the recent headlines here that we have captured in relation to, for example, enterprise and startups in this case. Headline Headlines tab shows you exactly the same information as we saw before, but in this case you can see a little bit more at one glance, and it's also a little bit easier on the eye, and then you can trail through his recent headlines in a timeline view on here too. Tweets are coming through same as before, so you can see his recent tweets. Again, gives you a little bit more space on your screen to have a look through this information, and of course if you want to check on the original post itself, click on the bird icon and then you can view the post on Twitter. Buy on alerts still coming through on here, so you can see the information from his profile that we also used to have on the old profile pages. Now a new tab that we have introduced onto this new layout here on the journalist pages is this interview tab. So at Roxhill we nowadays hold off breakfast events on a much more regular basis, so we have 15 participants for these sessions, usually among our clients who meet up with a journalist to talk about kind of pitching ideas and some additional information that might help our clients with regards to approaching these journalists and the stuff that they're interested in, also from a timeline view. So say for example if there's certain days when it's better to reach out to than others, we capture this information, and this is usually also part of these events and the content of what is being discussed, to give you some further insights into pitching to this specific contact or to their team at the publication or to the publication overall, to give you some further insights. So hugely useful interview section. Also, if you haven't had a chance to attend the events yourself, there is a snippet here where you can listen in to the Roxhill event when we held it and to get some further insights into what was being discussed. Some further task buttons at the top right here. So the GDPR button is still on the profiles for you to use to manage your rapport with these contacts as an organization over time. There's also a button to add the contact to your stream, so this information is exactly the same as it used to be on the old profile layout as well, and you of course also have a button on here to add this journalist into your press lists on the system. Now if you want to take all this information and consolidate it into a nice Word document, there is a button that actually does this all automatically for you, just in case you haven't spotted this yet. We used to have it on the old profiles too, so this function is exactly the same, so don't spend time copy pasting all the information from the different sections on his profile, because this button does this all automatically for you. Now looking at another journalist's profile, because with James's profile we had a little bit of a corporate approach, so how about we also have a look at a journalist on the consumer side of things, because perhaps this looks a little bit different on that side with regards to the content that feeds into consumer journalist profiles. So same information on the left hand side, we have the contact details, again the sectors that the journalist covers and the desks that they sit on. Headlines also, if we capture headlines for the journalist, they are feeding through on here too. There are her recent tweets coming through here as well, so any retweets of course we still mark them up with the initials RT, so you can easily spot those. And also Instagram posts, we capture those whenever the journalist is posting anything on Instagram, and this is feeding through on their profiles as an additional feed of content. Media requests are coming through here too, to give you some further insights as to what the journalist is interested in receiving, so feel free to use this information and get in touch with journalists if you have anything that's relevant for them. And of course we have the usual sections here with the biography and the new section about any peers that you can also reach out to who might have an interest into something similar to this contact. Now another section here which might be useful if you have something in mind that you want to talk to these journalists about, you can actually use this little keyword search box here to find something specific, maybe to trail through this content on this journalist's page. So for example, if we just want to look out for whenever she has mentioned any content to do with hotels, you can type this in as a keyword, and that then filters the content accordingly to give you a bit more of an overview as to what specifically that she has posted about this keyword in the most recent past. So again, this defaults to the past 6 months, but you can change your timeline if need be. So that's our new journalist profiles feature, and we hope it will help you streamline the process of searching for and finding accurate journalist information. You can, of course, request a demo and trial at any time on our website or by contacting help@roxhillmedia.com. We've left all the information on the webinar registration page, which you'll be able to access when this webinar is over. At this point, we'd like to open up to questions from you, so please submit them in the questions tab on the right-hand window of this webinar, and I look forward to speaking with you in a moment's time.
Hello, hi everyone. Now this is actually live, just from my living room. I hope that you're all comfortable in your quarantine places as well. A bit of a strange situation these days, and also this isn't actually turned out to be not our first webinar. We did do another one on Monday, which was about the travel sector and how COVID-19 is affecting it these days, which obviously lots of you have attended. So we had a fantastic event on Monday with 200 people on the webinar. So we decided to kind of bring that forwards a little bit. And so when we did this recording, there has been another webinar which we did first already. There is another webinar coming up which focuses more on food and drink, which is next week on Tuesday. Again, a bit of a panel discussion with journalists. So do tune in if you want. Now I'm just going to look through your questions here at the bottom. So earlier, Holly asked when the new profile layout is due to go live. Now it is live already. So when you log in to Roxhill, you should be able to see the new profile layouts already. If you don't, then do let your dedicated account manager know, and they will be able to help out and maybe tweak things so that this is all appearing for you on Roxhill as well. Another question here which has been asked is about taking notes on the profiles. Now some of you may have already had a bit of a play around with the new profile pages. So on the top right there is a notes function as well, which I did leave out for the presentation today, because we're actually thinking about changing this functionality very soon. So this is in the development phase again with our tech team, and we're actually thinking about incorporating this into the website in a slightly different way. So I haven't got too much information at this stage that I can give you in terms of what this will eventually look like. Some of you might have already tried the notes function, and just to see how this functions. It is different to how it used to be on the old profiles, and also the new functionality that we're still working on will probably also be slightly different. So hold your seats, and this is going to change quite soon as well. Then other questions here. Can you download a list of peers and colleagues into a Excel sheet? Thank you, Rebecca, for asking the question. At the moment, I think there isn't a button to download a list of peers and colleagues at the moment, but this is again something that the tech guys are aware of. I think I actually logged this ticket myself because someone asked me over email just if that is possible. So we, our tech team are working on adding this functionality onto the system very soon. And also, if you guys have any suggestions at any stage while you use the new profile pages, feel free to ping us a message also on the help and feedback button on the website. A few more questions coming through here at the bottom. So Gail is asking, does the new template capture the same type of information for all journalists on Roxhill at the moment? Interesting question, Gail. Well, it depends on the information that we can find about the journalists. So some of you might be aware that we are getting a feed of articles sent through into our systems from the Newspaper Licensing Agency, which includes articles from the UK national and regional press, predominantly. Some wires feeding into this system as well, and also a little bit of international information too. But this is very heavily based on information that we get from the NLA, and also therefore the journalists that have this additional information, like those pie charts that you see on the profiles, will be also therefore only be visible for journalists that we get this feed coming through. And also the same for Twitter feeds, for example. That depends on whether we are able to source a Twitter handle for journalists, or whether they use this and whether it's not a private account. And so it depends on a couple of factors on that side. Biography pages are of course visible for everyone, and so is the kind of static information like sectors and contact details, of course, are there, so you can get in touch with these guys, and so that's included on the new profiles too. Then question from Dina. Hello. Hi, is this new feature for journalists include journalists in Africa? So the data on Roxhill does include a global contacts, essentially. So you will be able to find quite a range of journalists in Africa as well. I do remember back a few years ago when I was working on the data team, I was actually also adding data to the website back then. So things like South Africa, the IoT media is all included, and you should be able to find especially the kind of top tier publications in Africa on the system too. Now, the new journalist layouts are visible for every contact that we have on the database. I think at the moment we have around 157,000 contacts on the database. So do feel free to explore, use the name search on the top right, check publications, use your advanced search on the top left on the website, and find further contacts to reach out to. Of course, if you have troubles finding who you're looking for, you can always drop us a message on the help and feedback button, and our data team can give you a reply within 10 to 15 minutes time. Then the last question I can see on here from Julie, can I print and or copy paste all this information in an easy way? Yes, there is a briefing document button on the profiles, which we used to have on the old profiles too, but just to highlight this again, because I know this is something that junior PRs used to do a lot back in the days, and lots of time spent on reformatting all this information in a Word document, or creating meeting notes, etc., to take with you and print off. Do remember to use the briefing document button on the profiles, because this does this all automatically for you and saves you a lot of time. And so if you need to take a summary of this information down into a Word document, print it off, do remember to use the briefing document button. Now, I think I can't spot any further questions on here, so I hope that I've answered your questions accordingly as well. Thanking you all for dialing in today. I do hope that you all stay safe and healthy. Oh, one more question come through from Jamie. Is there a way to flag to Roxhill that a journalist's details are out of date? Yes, Jamie, there is. If you use the help and feedback button on the top right on the website, there's a little text box where you can drop any information in, say, for example, if a mobile number or phone number is no longer working, or if someone's email address, if you get a bounce back. Now, we do appreciate that you guys are on the front line of talking to these contacts on a regular basis. So if there's anything that has changed, or if you can't get hold of someone, drop us a message through on the help and feedback button as and when you look at those details, and then our data team can jump on this information and do some digging for you, and potentially send you some more up-to-date information through, so that you can reach out to those journalists as well. So again, if there is anything that we can do to help you reach out to these contacts, let us know on help and feedback, and we can give you some pointers. Great, thanks, thanks, Jamie. Great, thank you very much for dialing in. I'm going to wrap up now. Again, stay safe out there. Wash your hands lots of times, as they tell us on the BBC, and take care and stay healthy and look after your loved ones. All right, cheers.